Hello, this is Todd Geis of Geis Interactive, and welcome to this little video on introducing Modular FileMaker. So Modular FileMaker is a style for writing loosely coupled chunks of FileMaker functionality. Well, what do I mean by that? What's the point? Why am I bothering with all this stuff? Well, quite frankly, there's not enough time to write all the code that needs to get written. I don't have the time. I don't think most developers have the time. And I think the approach that has been taken in the past, where people have tried to build large frameworks to sort of address the issue of not having to rewrite things over and over again, is these large monolithic frameworks just don't get adopted. They're not picked up outside of the original development shops in which they're developed. And again, the end result is that we have very few well-tested, publicly available chunks of FileMaker code. So just to look at some of the alternatives, Ruby, Node, Python, PHP, and Java, you can see that these communities are much better at sharing code. I mean, PHP has a new package management system called Composer, and they have 9,000 shareable libraries in 2 years have been developed for that module. Quite a bit more. Now, I know it's not fair. You know, those are all open source projects. FileMaker isn't, but really all we have is custom functions and plugins, and quite frankly, that's just not good enough. So why is it so hard for us to do this kind of sharing? And I think it comes down to a long legacy of limitations. You know, we have, some of us have been doing FileMaker for 20 years, and we go way back to FileMaker 2, 3, etc., and even up through 6. We only had 50 tables that we could ever use in any solution. We also have been writing tightly coupled code. The scripts, the calcs, everything that we write has been tightly coupled to the database tables that the code is supposed to operate on. And there's been very little indirection or ability to sort of loosely point at the tables or the data that we need to update or we need to read. And we just weren't able to make code that was loosely coupled. So, but recently there's been a bunch of new features over the last, I'd say 2 or 3 versions. Things have gotten much easier with FileMaker. We have things like SQL and set field by name. We have more experience using design functions to read the databases that we're in and determine what might need to happen. We also have this new trick in 12 where we can have layout objects that are off screen. Comes in handy a lot. And the list goes on and on. But the basic point is that I think it's time. I think that we now have the capability to begin to develop our code in a much more modular way. So let's take a look at an example I call master detail. So again, this is an example of what we call a master detail view. We have the list of contacts on the left, and when we click on that list here, we get the contact we're looking for on the left side. On the right side, the detail. So this is an example of a virtual list interface where we have this portal is using a virtual list on the left, and the whole module was designed so that it was easy to install. It's well tested and it's very well optimized, and it doesn't take a tremendous amount of effort to get it into place, and it works really well inside of a FileMaker solution. It doesn't require a lot of expert knowledge to make it work. Master detail works with whatever the found set is. It will automatically generate the virtual list that you need and make it very simple for you to integrate into your solution. So this is a good example of what a module is. It's a focused chunk of functionality. So we're not talking about an entire solution. We're talking about a particular view into the solution. And in this case, actually, this module depends on another module called Hyperlist, which is even smaller, and that just deals with the gathering of the virtual list IDs that are required, and does it in a very highly optimized and very fast way. So this file, master detail, which is available on the modularfilemaker.org website, is a good example of 2 modules and sort of the size and scale and scope of what a module is. It's small, it's tightly focused, and it's well tested and well optimized and easily dropped into a solution without a lot of extraneous steps. So that's master detail, and that's a good example of what a modular FileMaker module is. So here's the website, modularfilemaker.org. We've got the documentation of the spec here, and you can learn about how to write your code in the style that we're advocating. We've also got a list of all the currently available modules. We've got quite a few already, and we hope to have many more as more people develop modules. There's also a forum currently where you can ask questions. This may be changing to a Google group at some point, but for right now it's a forum. And if you'd like to get involved, please just register on the site. It's WordPress, so you can just register clicking the register link. And that's about it. So thanks very much for your interest in modularfilemaker.org, and we hope that over time we can develop a large repository of publicly available modules to help us all in our FileMaker projects. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.